what we like went to school for. So we had to learn business throughout that time period too. So
yeah. Well, let's jump in, you guys. I'm talking to Shannon and Christina today, and they are the owners of, is it Pick Photography, Pick Photo? Is that the name of the business?
Yeah, it's funny because we say PIC Photo, some people say Pick Photo, and either way, we love both.
It stands for Photos and Camera. So.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So we were just talking about how you guys got started in this business, and you said you started 13 years ago. But really, it sounds like for the last 3 years is when you left your corporate jobs or your day jobs and went full-time into photography.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start there. Let's start right there, because that takes so much guts, and you've got to be so brave to say, or you have to be sick of what you're doing and just say, I'm so done and I'm burnt out and now I'm moving to my passion.
Yeah.
What happened? What was it for you guys 3 years ago that made you go, let's just do this full time?
You know, kind of a combination of both, of like what you said, just being burnt out and also just wanting to like take that leap. You know, we were starting to become just like unhappy in our current work environment, unhappy with the upper management, and then the company culture itself. It was becoming really toxic. And we actually had the same day job, which is kind of funny. So we worked for the same company, different management positions, but same company. And, so it wasn't like one moment necessarily. It was like a culmination of, I would say, kind of like a couple years at the end there where we were like, okay, like it's time to go. We felt like it was kind of cutting into the time that we were able to put towards our business. And since we were doing our business as well as doing the day job, we were still, building relationships, building a client base, building our portfolio, and doing all of that. So we were still getting our name out there, but we were like, we need to be able to put more into this. And like you said, it's really scary because, you have a salary, you have, health insurance, you have paid time off, you have all of those things. And when you're no longer working for a company and you're working for yourself, that all kind of falls onto you. And so,
I mean, this was our end goal too, or not end goal. I shouldn't say end goal, but because we always have other goals, but for the longest time, our goal was to leave our day jobs, but the security of it kept us in for a little bit longer. And it just, we finally built up it was a culmination of like the workplace was no longer good and we were ready. We had spent so much time preparing for it that we were like, it's time,
Yeah. Okay. So you guys make the leap. You leave the day jobs where you're managing, bless your souls, managing is so hard and challenging. And so you leave that and you jump in full time.
Yep.
Since you guys were doing this together prior to jumping in full time, did you have your specific roles already figured out? Or was that something you needed to iron out?
Yeah, I think so. We had somewhat of our roles already kind of in place, but then I think as we went full time, it became more apparent that we need to define those roles even further, because we felt like we were both doing everything a little bit, like even when we were kind of like overlapping on the things, and so we're like we really need to like hone into each other's skill sets, and kind of like went back to like, where, like, what do we shine in? What do each of us shine in? And so that we can really take the reins and just go with those roles, which has actually really helped us defining those roles, because it is hard at first. You're just like, I'm like I want to take charge over everything. And I realize, sometimes I just needed to chill out, even in our partnership, I obviously trust Christina with all of my being, but it's just hard for me to take a step back with certain things. So learning to do that with each other is really helped our business, to just let each other shine in these roles and not trying to take control of each thing. You know?
What other challenges did you guys face when you went into this full time?
Yeah, so there's
a lot.
It's like, first it's work-life balance. You go from having a structured day job where you're it's like you spent 10 hours of your day there, and then you go home and you fit in your business and you fit all your stuff in your time. You had a littler time, and when we're busier, we seem to
thrive more.
Thrive with like filling in
Yes.
those pockets. But then all of a sudden, you know, it was like our dream was to have all this extra time to work on our business. But then we realized like all that extra time, it almost was overwhelming. You know, like, okay, I need to have a structure. It's not just like free time here. It's like we need to make sure that we have that same structure that we had before, but also being able to be flexible when different things arise, you know? So it's been a lot of like learning process with, you know, just making sure we have like a schedule, you know, you know, certain days for things and making sure we stick to it kind of no matter
And then also
what.
like kind of being flexible with that schedule because, you know, we always have been people who worked for other people. You know, we didn't, even like in our like growing up lives and stuff, our families didn't own their own businesses or anything like that. So that's also a challenge in your mind. Like the imposter syndrome kicks in. Like, I can't do this. I've never seen anybody do this, you know? And then you're realizing like, no, wait, we can do this, you know? And so I think, that's definitely like a challenge as well.
Like the fact that you just said, okay, we came from structure, we came from this corporate background, and now we're applying it to our business. You just nailed it. Most people do not understand when they go into entrepreneurship that they have to give themselves the structure. No one's going to give it to them.
Yeah.
No, I know. Because we kept saying like, can somebody just tell us what we need to do? You know, we're like, shoot, okay, what do we do? You know, how do we like break that up? And then also just like self-motivating yourself and, you know, because it's easy kind of in a sense to like disappoint yourself or not do something that you need to for yourself. But when you're doing it for somebody else, like you will always make sure that you're doing what needs to get done in a sense, you know? So it's like also just motivating ourselves to be like, okay, this is what we have to do. Or even if you don't want to.
Yeah. Making sure you're doing the things, working through the adversity, you know, just when you don't want to do it.
Yes. Oh, it's so hard. Okay. So let's see. When you're dividing the responsibilities, how do you make sure? I mean, first of all, I don't know anything about the photography business. So let me back it up. And I'm sure some of my listeners don't either. You're photographing, we met because you did some photographs for me and my business and my partner's business. You do family, you do wedding.
Newborn.
Oh, newborn. Yes. Okay. So cute. Right. So you're hitting a bunch of different places to do photography. How do you get business? I know you met my business partner at a networking event.
Yeah.
Building relationships is really key. I feel like probably in any business, but you know, since we're very, you know, heavily like face to face with our clients, going out there to different places and meeting people and just building relationships, like genuine relationships. So either event, it could be marketing events. I mean, even just things that we enjoy. It doesn't have to be marketing events. I feel like we organically just meet people everywhere we go.
Right. Yeah.
And then word of mouth, obviously, that's always like the best form because somebody who's actually worked with you, then they tell their friends. And so we've had a lot of word of mouth come through, which is the best, really, you know.
Yeah. And you two have such a great Instagram feed because it showcases you. Like, you know who you're getting.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important when you're working with a photographer to feel comfortable.
Yes.
And you've done a really good job at that, at making people like see who you are and that you're lighthearted and fun.
Thanks.
Right?
Yeah. You said it too. I think that's super important is we say this all the time is like, there's so many great photographers out there. But you know, what people are really like getting with us is us, you know, and I think that's something really important to show is like you said, you don't want people to feel comfortable. You don't, I mean, of course you want to produce great photography, but we've seen a lot of great photographers that are like boring and like we watched it. We're just like, oh gosh, that seems like a, you know, not comfortable.
Yeah. They're not making their subjects feel very comfortable or directing them or leading them, you know? And so I think, that's a huge thing.
Oh, well, I loved working with you guys because I don't like having pictures taken of myself. So you made me feel so comfortable and it was fun and I really enjoyed it, which is hard for me to say when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And you know, a lot of people are like that too. We hear so many people often that are like, okay, I know I need to get photos, but I hate getting my photos taken. And we're always like, not to worry. Like, we gotcha.
Yeah, I love that. So what, you guys, how long have you two been together?
We've been together for about 18 years. Yeah. So
okay, so you have always worked together, even in the corporate job?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's something that has helped us know that we were going to be good in business, because we worked together in school,
we met at school, at photography school.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So jumping into starting your own business, maybe not as scary as some other people who, don't know the person very well, or right. You two were comfortable. You'd already known each other for so long. You were together, and now you're building this business together.
Yeah. Because we were together for a little while before we started actually doing the business, So like you said, we kind of had that base and that like foundation with each other. So
we knew we can communicate well. I think that's really important, being able to communicate.
Right.
There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be different things that we're working through, but as long as we can always check back in, is really, we had that experience with each other before, from just either, being together, living together, working together at our corporate jobs. We were both in management positions at our corporate jobs. And so we would have to come together with both of our teams and kind of work through stuff.
Oh, wow.
I think that also helped us, just there wasn't a question as far as, you always have to work on things. It's never just perfect, but, we knew that we could at least have a good foundation for that.
Yeah. And Shannon, you said something about, you knew you were kind of a controlling person, or you wanted to control certain things. And I think having self-awareness about who you are in the relationship, business, personal, both, is the only way to have a successful relationship, right? So know that about yourself. You're going, okay, I understand this is what I'm doing, and I need to like maybe pull back, or give a little bit more faith or trust to Christina so she can do what she does best.
Yeah. I think that communication came in too, because at one point she had to tell me, she's like, do you even trust me with anything? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to put that off on her, because it's like, that's a me thing. And so check in with yourself. Like you said, self-awareness, like there's a lot of work. I feel like you got to put yourself first so that you can show up for your partner, for your business, and be the best. So there's a lot of work, a lot of self-work you got to do, I think, as an entrepreneur. I said people, but especially entrepreneurs.
What advice would you guys give to somebody who was thinking about leaving their corporate job and jumping into their passion or something that they wanted to build?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think first, make sure that you have grit and tenacity, also financial stability, like that you have at least like 6 to 12 months of like savings for expenses.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, for things that, things are going to come up. Things are, going to maybe be slow, but you got to be kind of thinking ahead there.
It doesn't feel like as scary then, so that you have a cushion, I guess, because you're making the jump, the safety net is gone and you're just free falling. So
I love that. So I know that when I'm talking to people who are wanting to get into real estate, first of all, I am one of those people who are like, you might need a side job. Let's just be real honest about it. Not everybody comes from money or has a husband or a wife who can take care of them while they're building their business. So you're saying you guys saved about 12 months or 6 months to 12 months worth of money to start this.
Yeah.
I know camera equipment. I know all that is very expensive. Is that budgeted into your yearly expenses, or how do you do that? What do you, how does that work for you guys?
That's a good question. And, we kind of built up the equipment over time. So, when we very first started, we each had a camera, and, because coming from a photo school, we each had our own equipment, just kind of starting there. And then we carried that through into starting our business. So we each already had, a camera, at least a lens. And then from there, we have built that up into, then we're like, okay, now we need to get, we need a new camera so we can make this our backup camera. We need to get a new lens. And so slowly we have built that up once you're getting more revenue coming in. not like an all at once type of a thing.
Okay.
We should budget some, some of that into your at least yearly expenses. You don't always have to replace equipment all the time, but you definitely do need to, add to your repertoire.
Yeah.
You do need to like be ready if you have anything like you need to send your camera in.
Do you all have a studio space, or do you just meet people where they are?
Yeah, so we do on location, like for the newborn sessions, we do those in home. So we come to, people's apartments, condos, homes. We just need a small space, and then we bring everything that's necessary for the shoot.
And like a mini studio.
Yeah, exactly, like a mini studio setup. And then as far as when we're working, obviously weddings are at venues, and then when we do portrait sessions, we do those out at parks or open space preserves, or like when we did the photos with you, we came to the office. So we'll kind of, as you said, we'll meet people where they're at.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And how much can a person expect to spend to start a photography business? Like, what's the basics that they need?
Yeah, so definitely the basics. You need for sure a camera and a lens.
I think a backup camera would be.
Yeah. But like if you're just like bare bones, bare minimum, you need a camera, a lens. Depending on, we use a flash. We don't use strobe lights. We use natural light and then pop a flash when necessary. So a flash, you need a computer for editing and things like that. You want a website. Insurance is probably a good idea. And then like a business, getting your business license and any permits. So
because you need permits to shoot at the county parks or the sometimes.
I did not know. Oh, sorry, guys. No. I did not turn off my phone.
But yeah, you need a permit to shoot at the county parks. So like things like that. So you have an estimated cost, I think.
Yeah, and and this is kind of just like a general. So on the low end, probably an investment between $3,200 to $5,000, and then like on the high end, around $10,000 to $15,000 plus, depending on, because some people like they already have a computer, so they don't need to purchase that. But if like you have to purchase everything, then it can be a little.
Yeah, but you can pretty much start a photography business really like at a low budget, and then just work your way up. I feel like that's, kind of what we did when we had our day jobs. We started it off just very minimal. Yeah. Without like, and then we got a website, and then we got a website designer, then different things just as you go and as you can pay for them.
Do you edit your own pictures, or do you send that out? This is something I learned recently, that you can send it out for editing, or you can do it yourself. I'm curious about your take on that.
Yeah, so we do all of it ourselves. I do most of the like post-production editing process. Shannon sometimes will, like if we have like a ton in the queue, just to help speed that process up. But yeah, we do all of it on our own in-house.
We're not against though. We've been, we're not against trying to find somebody, because as your business grows, you realize that like, you're in charge of everything. You're wearing 17 hats, you're everything. So sometimes it does feel like, your focus needs to be more on getting new leads and booking clients. And sometimes it just feels like some of the other stuff gets in the way of it. But as artists, it's hard for us to give up sometimes these things because it's your art, but there's a lot of great editors out there. We've actually, some of our friends have worked with people that, they send off their stuff to get edit. And it's just a matter of working with somebody so you can, they can start getting your style. And then once you realize, I think someone's gotten your style the way that you want it, then I feel like it would probably feel good. So we're not opposed to that, but right now we do all of our editing in-house.
Okay. Yeah. I had no idea that even existed, but of course it does, right? Because you can find someone for anything, but
totally.
Okay, so let's see. So we're talking about maybe a $5,000 to $15,000 startup cost.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying save 6 to 12 months for money to get started, so you're not freaking out.
Yeah.
When you launch the business. What else can you guys think of if somebody is really thinking about doing this or wanting to do it? What other advice could you give them?
I would say also seeking professional advice, like seeking mentors, making sure to you have a community, or at least looking to get into having people around you surrounding you that are going to lift you up, because being an entrepreneur can also feel very lonely at times. And sometimes the people like your family and your friends, they all love you and stuff, but maybe they're not in the same space where they're gonna always fully either support you, you know, or just lift you up, you know, and get you to where you want to be mentally, you know. So,
and then also too, just like always learning, reading books, watching, you know, because there's a lot of free information that's out there as well. There's a lot of really successful, super smart people who have been entrepreneurs for a really long time. And so we even have, you know, there's probably like a handful of people that we like, I guess, like look up to and look to, and they have a lot of free information and advice on business, all aspects of business.
Yeah. So even before, you know, we hired a mentor, which I highly recommend doing when you can, because I think it not only gets you into a community, but it's, you know, again, like I said, it can get really lonely and there's not someone to turn to. We're our own bosses, right? So there's not always someone to turn to that'll be like, like, what do I do in this situation? So hiring somebody, a mentor is, you know, you're a mentor yourself. So, you know, we highly recommend, but like Christina said, you know, there's other ways before you can maybe do that to get yourself to a positive spot.
Yeah. That's so true. I mean, it really is so different to put on the entrepreneur hat and then and then you're wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
You got to do all the things.
Yes.
You got to do your marketing, your website, lead gen, like all the things.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, you know, learning the new skill sets that you don't have, you know, you need to have to make sure you have the time to make the time to learn those new skill sets, you know, because you are that, you are all of those things. So,
and most likely you're not hiring out for all of these things right at the beginning. You're the person doing it all. So like what Shannon said, like if you lack in a certain skill, learn that skill, you know, until you get better at it.
Yeah.
And
another figure it out.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, another thing too, and we talk about this all the time, is you can't be afraid to fail. I think in life, in school, anywhere, you are taught, like, don't fail, get good grades, do all these things. But then when it comes to actually like being in business and being an entrepreneur, like you are going to fail. You're going to be bad at things, but it's more so how you come back from that. Exactly. And learn from that and get back up and continue on. You know, and so I think that's like a huge thing for people to learn.
Being comfortable, being uncomfortable, you know?
It's so true.
Yep.
So my question for you, what regions do you cover? Because we're in Santa Cruz County. Do you go all over the Bay Area?
Yeah, we do. Like typically for, you know, portrait sessions and things, we're anywhere from like Santa Cruz, San Jose, and like all the neighboring cities there,
Santa
like
Clara
Los Gatos,
County.
Fremont, up to San Francisco, usually for like portrait sessions. And then for weddings, we'll travel. Like we have, you know, an upcoming wedding that's down in Southern California. We'll be going to Boston in August. And so we'll kind of go all over for that.
Oh, that sounds fun. What do you have a favorite of things that you like to do? Or because I know you do so much at this point, you've been doing it for so long. This is the benefit of having experience, is now you can focus on a lot of things. Is there a favorite for you, or do you just kind of like it all?
Well, we do love it all. Our biggest niche, I would say, is our newborns.
Yeah.
And it's always hard for us to choose because, you know, but we're trying to niche down because I feel like that's our newest thing that we're kind of learning is niching down a little bit so that we can market a little bit easier to a certain, you know, so we're speaking to, you know, specific people. But we love it all. So it is hard, but we do love little newborns because it's like, we get to walk into people's homes at the like most precious moment in their lives, you know, and just kind of like it thrusts us into their family, you know, and I think that's the favorite thing we love is connections with people. So like that is a great way just so we're like in their family, like what up, you know, little babies, feeding them, and we just love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And so fun. Like you said, that is when we had our daughter, that first couple of months were the best, most beautiful time in our house.
See? And I know like I was a little different with the things, you know, some people are having hard times during that time, but it's nice to even walk in and give them a little second of like relief and, you know, knowing that they're not alone. We've seen so many different newbie moms there that, you know, feel like that too. And they also feel that same vibe of like what we feel in entrepreneurship. They feel lonely and alone and they're just there with their baby. So we're trying to like, you know, start a community with the moms so that they can feel like there's, you know.
Oh, I love that.
For them.
I love that. Okay, one question that I tend to think about all the time now, especially in my industry, is the role of AI.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the role of AI with your industry? Do you seeing it being a disruptor? Do you see it, maybe it's kind of the gold right now, but it will kind of go away? How do you feel about it?
You know, it's interesting because just like with like any new things or new technology, I feel like there's like the good and the bad. You know, the thing that we like, that we specifically use like in our business, is the editing software. They've made it a lot easier to, you know, remove objects from the background, smooth the skin, and it's very precise. So the editing capabilities, I really enjoy using AI for that. And then we often too, even just like with ChatGPT, we use that for, you know, blog posts, sometimes Instagram posts,
Newsletters.
It
It just sounds nicer. Like they sound nicer than
yes.
it's not very wordy.
Sometimes
So
like even general questions, we're like, ask ChatGPT.
yeah.
But as far as like,
So it's enhancing. I feel like it's enhancing in some ways.
it is,
for sure.
yeah. And then the industry as a whole, sometimes where it can be like kind of negative, is because, you know, the cameras are so automatic to the point of where it can do like automatic composition just based on like the principles of composition. And so somebody with little to no skill can come in and just become a photographer. So it has the potential to really oversaturate an already saturated market.
Mm-hmm.
And then making other photographers really have to, I mean, you already have to differentiate yourself, but then you have to even more with all of the, you know, people coming into the industry. And
they're popping in though. Like they pop in and pop out. I'm sure you have that in your industry as well.
But you know, it's a business, like your business, my business, it's a people business, and you just can't take that. You can't replace that.
Yes.
Right? If somebody wants to work with a robot, then that's fine. Go work with the robot.
Yeah.
But if you want a personal touch and you want someone who you can trust and feel good with, then you'll want the person there. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
not
how
worried about it.
Like how we feel. We're storytellers and we provide an experience. And at least right now, AI is not doing that. So we, you know, people have asked us before, well, are you worried like about your business? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Because even when we graduated college, people were like, photography is a dying art. And we're like, no, it isn't. And it's thriving and it's growing. And so there's always that. But we're like, we're not worried about that.
All right, you guys, that is our time. You heard my timer. Usually I catch it before it goes off. So it was so lovely to talk to you both. I'm going to put a link to your website so everybody can go and check it out. And once again, tell me, you take newborn photos, you did lifestyle photos or brand building, which is what you did for me. Weddings. Am I missing anything?
No, that's the main thing.
Family.
And I am also going to link to your Instagram because I think people should follow you. I think you're doing such a good job. I really do. When I'm thinking about brand and how to connect with people online, you guys have really figured it out. You're just it's your personalities. They shine through. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on here.